welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be playing and testing out these two Lethal Cosmetic palettes. So I have the Wildflower palette here as well as the Nightflower. This was the original palette that Lethal Cosmetics first came out with, and then they recently released this Wildflower palette. So I thought it would be fun to try both of them out together, do one look on each eye, just test out the formula, and go from there. I've done this with a few videos now, just testing out multiple palettes from the same brand in the same video. So far I've done it with What's Up Beauty, Cosmic Brushes, and I've really been enjoying it. It gives me a chance to just test out multiple palettes and create more looks for you. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd love it if you stick around. But now I'm just gonna swatch both of these palettes out. We're gonna go over the shade names and then we'll get to applying them. All right, so before I get started creating some looks, I just wanted to show both palettes off, go over some swatches. So here is what Wildflower looks like. And then here is the inside. It's very summery, just very bright. I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to pick this palette up, but I saw some really pretty looks with it, and I do love Lethal Cosmetics formula. I've only tried a few palettes from them, I think 2, and both of them were their charity quads that they came out with sometime this year earlier. I will link that video up above, but I'm a sucker for purple and pink. This is really pretty. This shade here did actually come broken when it arrived, but I sent a picture to Lethal Cosmetics and they resent out a single right away. They didn't give me too much hassle, so that was very much appreciated. But let's now just go over swatches of this palette. So going left to right, top to bottom, we have Untamed, Daisy, Blazing Star, Foxglove, Thorn, Clover, Cyanus, Heather, Pioneer, Wilted, Flourish, and Nightshade. So here, like I said, is Wildflower. I'm now gonna hold up Nightflower so you can just see the two of them together, side by side maybe, and you can see how this pulls inspiration from this palette. This is much more of a cool tone blue purple palette, much more dark and sultry, whereas this one is just lighter, brighter, more summery, a little bit more warm tone with those pinks. But the Nightflower, I also, I couldn't resist. Like I said, I'm a sucker for purple. A lot of these cool tones like this shade here, this one here. I mean, Lethal just has a really nice formula. So I figured if I was gonna get one, I should get both. And really I need to stop looking at their Instagram because they just make the most beautiful color stories with their singles. And I have like a list of all the palettes I want to create with all their singles. So I need to stop, but I really like this one as well. So I'm going to see which one maybe I prefer. But let's also quickly go over swatches of Nightflower. Top to bottom, left to right, we have Allure, Moonbeam, Twilight, Dahlia, Nox, Aurora, Lithophyte, Evenfall, Circadian, Wisteria, Nightlong, and Midnight. So those are just some quick swatches of the two palettes. Now I'm going to scoot you in a little bit closer. I'm going to try and create some eye looks from these palettes and just make sure that this is the same Lethal formula that we've all come to love. So I think I want to start with Wildflower. Now I did prime my eyes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I find that with more of a pressed pigment palette, priming my eyes works a little bit better. So I did prime them today, and I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't know if I want to use this pink, but I kind of do. I'm almost thinking maybe going from like a purple to pink matte transition and then using 2 of the glitters with it, 2 of the like more special shades. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna put this one like more on the outer half of my crease and this one kind of going in. I've never really done like an ombre crease, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I think that I'll be able to manage it, and then we'll pick some glitters out afterwards. Now, the shade names are not on the palette. They're only on the sleeve that it comes with, so I do have to keep this. So I won't be saying each shade as I apply it. I'll just kind of describe the shade, but I'm gonna go into the more mid-tone purple first, and I'm gonna mostly tap in place this shade because I have the primer and worry about blending after. But I kind of want this just halfway on the lid, a little bit down here, right like this. And then I'm going to take the same brush, go into the very bright pink, and stamp this on the inner portion, right like that. I want to mostly stamp so that way I can really place the color and not have them blend into each other and get muddy. I would do more than one color, but my eyes are a little bit on the smaller side, and I just don't think you'd see a good transition between colors if I did 3 or more. So I'm gonna stick with 2, and that's kind of how I want that. So now I'm gonna go into a bigger fluffy blending brush, and I'm gonna take the really matte pink shade right here, and I'm just gonna use that to blend out this part here. So that created the blend that I wanted, but I did lose a little bit of that just vibrancy with the pink and the purple. I'm gonna go ahead and just re-intensify that, especially the purple. Just go back in and make sure it's nice and bright. I kind of want it just a little bit on the lid, but not too much, because we're gonna cover that up with a glitter. Go back in with the pink. And I'm just gonna kind of try more to blend and transition these two, so it looks like they're fading into each other and it's not just a half and half type of situation. I have the 2 colors where I want, so I'm gonna go now in with some NYX Glitter Glue and just place that down for the shimmers, since I do have the rest of my makeup on. And most of what I'm wearing is in my project pan. I'll link that playlist up above, but I do always list the makeup that I'm wearing if I don't talk about it on camera. I always list it down in the description box below. So I now have that glitter glue, and I'm trying to decide, like, should I follow the pink purple and do like this one on the inner, this one on the inner, this one on the outer? Should I do blue and switch it up? I think maybe I am gonna try this blue and do blue on the outside, the purple in the middle, and the pink right on the inner. And I'm gonna go light to dark just so I don't put too much of that blue. I'm going in with a flat brush from What's Up Beauty. So I'm gonna go into that pink shimmer and really press it down in that inner corner. That shift is so pretty. Now I'm gonna go in with the, I don't know if I wanna go in with this purple or this purple. I think I'm gonna do this purple right here. I'm gonna go in with the same brush, put that in the middle. Oh yeah, I like that shade a lot. It's much brighter. The pink, you can almost not even tell that it's pink it kind of shifts more to just this iridescent kind of green is what it's looking like to me. So I'm gonna kind of cover it more. It'd be, I think, prettier as like an inner corner shade. I mean, it is inner corner, but more like in the tear duct. And then now I'm gonna take that blue, which is a little bit tougher to pick up with my brush. And it is crumbling just a little bit. It's very soft. I'm gonna make sure I softly press that in the corner there. I'm wanting more of that purple, so I'm gonna go in with my finger and apply this more over that pink. And then I'll probably use the pink for the inner corner. I don't know if it's really, it's very, very sparkly. I will give it that. I'm gonna take the pink and just pop it in the inner corner right now. Yeah, I think that this is more, for me, an inner corner shade. Just like that. I mean, it's very pretty, it's very bright. I don't know how much I like it as far as the complexity of the look, but I'm also more of a simple eyeshadow look. I was just trying to maybe branch out for the video. I think I just prefer it more if I did like my simple color in the crease with one shimmer. I don't know how much I love like the gradient. At least you'll have to tell me from your side. I don't love it on my side. Let's now go into the bottom lash line. So I'm gonna take like this mint green here, I think, and place that on the lower lash line to get real nice up close and personal with my mirror. Just to bring like another element of lightness. Here it is with that mint color applied. It's just missing something. I think I need to add some black liner. I'm gonna do that afterwards once I apply mascara. But now let's go into the Nightflower, just while I think about this a little bit. I don't completely hate it. It's just a lot more pastel than maybe I'm used to. So maybe this one's gonna work out better, or even I might just need to use the both palettes together since they are sister palettes. And this just kind of has more of the depth that maybe I need from this. This is just, I feel like there's nothing really grounding this, but let's just try this palette on its own. I always do more of a palette ranking. Once I've tested out palettes more than one time, I'll come back and rank a whole bunch of them, like 10 or so, and give more detailed thoughts. Today's just a first impression. I'm just kind of testing out the formula, making sure it's still kind of what I know from Lethal. Now for this one, I don't know if I want to do something like this since it didn't really work out for me. The colors look so different in the viewfinder. I think that maybe I'm gonna use, I think I'm gonna use this purple in the crease, deepen it up with this one, and use this purple all over the lid. Maybe with this one, 2 shimmers is okay for me. And then on the lower lash line, maybe this pop of blue. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take pretty much the same brushes that I used on this eye, just use my switch to take the pigment off, and let's get started. So again, I'm just gonna press that shadow right where I want it. First, I have to kind of create a guide with my hooded eyes and also just have the pigment stick to the primer. And once I know kind of where my shape is, it's a little bit easier for me. This already, like, even though it's dark, I kind of just like the tone of this more. I was not expecting that. I really thought I was gonna like the Wildflower more. Now I'm just kind of blending it back and forth. That's gonna take the color and tone it down. Lethal Cosmetics formula is very pigmented. I don't know if I want it as deep and sultry as this palette goes, especially in the crease. So I'm gonna leave it like that. And then now I'm gonna take the darker purple and put that on the outer crease here. The shade doesn't seem too different than the crease shade, does it? I think maybe it's just an undertone difference. This has a lot more red in it, whereas the first purple had a lot more blue that I put in the crease. But on the eyes, it kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Okay. I'm gonna go in with a fluffy blending brush, take this just cream here and blend out the edges. Just blow it up a little bit higher. I have like very small lids, but a lot of space between my brow and my lid. So I like to just not bring it up too high, but not have a big empty blank space there. Now going in with the glitter glue, wrong side. There we go. And I'm still gonna start light to dark. So I'm gonna go in with the purple in the top row. Very similarly to the Wildflower, it's very flaky. So I'm gonna be extra careful and just really pat this down. I might even just go in with my finger, like I can feel it on my lid. Just try to hopefully save the fallout from happening. I didn't completely save the fallout. I'm gonna try to carefully brush it away. Some of these in this palette are just, nope, that didn't work. Some of these in this palette are just a lot more textured than other shimmers. There's just different kinds of shimmers in here. It's fine, just this is definitely a palette you're gonna want to do your eye makeup first. Now I'm gonna go into that royal purple and place that more on the outer edge, outer corner. Add a little bit more depth. I just like this so much more. That is more my style, I think. Something about this is not my style. I am gonna branch out and put the blue on my lower lash line. I don't think I'm gonna personally like that, but we're here. Let's just give it a shot. I'm also gonna pop that blue in the inner corner and maybe mix it with this like peachy shade, just because I don't want blue in the inner corner, but I want to somewhat tie the blue in. So hopefully that'll make it just a little bit of a lighter blue. It's all right. Last thing I'm gonna do before I apply mascara is I'm just not liking how low my crease is. So I'm gonna very carefully just kind of go back in and try to bring it up a little bit higher. I feel like it needs to come up a little bit more. That always happens because it's right here on my eyelid that's hooded. So sometimes I miss the crease because even when I relax my eyes, I'm wanting them to be less hooded than they are. I think that's better. But now here are both looks. Here is the Nightflower side, and then here is the Wildflower side. I'm gonna apply some liner, put on mascara, scoot you out a little, and then just talk about my thoughts on both of these palettes. Really quickly, here are both looks with liner and mascara. I am so much happier now that I did that. I think it really completed the look. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd add some lashes, but quite honestly, I'm gonna take this off right after since they're not the same look on each eye, but specifically on the Wildflower side, I think lashes would help this look a lot. But here, both of them are, again, Nightflower on this side, Wildflower on this side. I'm gonna just apply my glasses so you can see what it looks like if you wear glasses. But now let me just scoot you out and briefly we'll talk about my thoughts on these palettes. I'm gonna keep this pretty brief here, but for both these palettes, you know, I do like both of them. Let's go over just the cons before I talk about the pros, I guess. The cons are just you have to do your eye makeup first. There's no which way about it. Both of these have that very flaky texture. In this palette's this one. I actually went back in and tried to press it down with my finger because it just felt really, really loose in the pan. And then in Wildflower, it's this one. So you can't have special shadows without sometimes having to work a little bit harder for them. That's just how it is. So take that as you will. A lot of the times I will do my eye makeup before my base just so I have time to really explore. But if I need something quick, fast, in a hurry, then these are not the palettes for you. Now, the only other con that I have, and this is just specific to me, is I don't think I will reach into this palette, the Wildflower, by itself very often. I think that I will need to pair these two palettes together. I'm more of like a monochromatic person. Like if I'm gonna do a purple look, I'm gonna do a purple look. And you can't really just do that with this palette. You do need to be a little bit more creative, mix and match colors, and that's not necessarily my style. I don't mind the look I came up with. I think I should probably re-intensify that pink a little bit. It got a little bit lost, but this is more my jam. So this palette I could use by itself if I'm looking for a purple look, but I really think that together is gonna be the winning combination for me. So it just depends on how you do your makeup. Now, I would say that this is the same formula that I experienced with Lethal Cosmetics from their charity quads. I got 2 of the 4 that came out last year, and I think it's the same quality. I think it's the same mattes, the same shimmers. They're really beautiful shimmers. I have nothing to complain about the formula. I do just think though, if you're new to indies and you're trying to branch out into indies, you don't have a lot of experience with indie brands, that I don't know if this palette specifically or either of these would be a good introduction to indie in my opinion. I think that this is a little bit more of an advanced palette just because of the different application techniques you need to use with these palettes. I hope that makes sense. But if I tried these first going into indie, I don't think I would have really stuck with indie. I think I would have probably been like, this is just too hard. It's too high maintenance. Indie's not for me. Like, yes, the shimmers are beautiful, but it's just not worth all the extra effort. So that's why I just don't think these are beginner friendly. Other than that, love the color story. I mean, summer's coming to an end here, but I could see myself hopefully getting a lot of use out of this Wildflower palette before summer ends. Really want to just try and figure out a really fun Barbie pink look with this shadow and mix it in with this one. I don't think this one has as many pinks as the Wildflower, but you kind of have more of those purples you could really bring in, I think. So I think that'll be my next look with these palettes. Like I mentioned when I was doing these looks, I do always test out the things I do first impressions on multiple times, and I come back and just talk about it further. So I will be doing just more looks, really getting a feel for both of these palettes. So stick around, make sure you're subscribed so you can see my palette ranking later on in about 6 weeks or so. But that's really all I have to say about these palettes. You'll have to let me know if you picked them up. You'll have to let me know which look you prefer, because maybe this is your favorite look. I'm just not used to it on myself. But let me know down below in the comments all your thoughts on Lethal Cosmetics. That's where I'm going to leave you all though. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.